This is a great event, and first of all, before we even get started, what I'd like to do is for any veteran in the room, would you please stand so we can recognize your service? And we especially want to thank Medal of Honor recipient Livingston for being here as well. We really appreciate your service, sir. At this time, we're going to have the honor guard come, and then we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. We just want to again thank you all for coming today and for honoring veterans in Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester counties. Just as we get started, this program means a lot to me because my grandfather and my wife's grandfather served for our country, and my grandfather was awarded the Silver Star for service in World War I in France, and my wife's grandfather fought in World War II. And so we not only appreciate the veterans and their service, but we appreciate for them coming out to help us trying to engage the public. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Isaac Kramer, who is our absentee coordinator for Charleston County. And thank you again for coming.
Following the 2014 election, we had about 39% voter turnout in Charleston County. That number is compared to 2010, where we had 48% voter turnout. This is why we decided to start a new program called Vote in Honor of a Veteran. This will be a county-wide program that offers recognition of our brave veterans and will provide encouragement to our citizens to vote in greater numbers. This program is aimed at raising awareness about the importance of voting and highlighting the bond between our veterans and democracy. As I said, our main goal is to increase voter participation. We have seen an increase in voter registrations in our county, but the numbers are not on par with the increase that we're getting. This is a new approach. While other states have tried a similar program of Vote in Honor of a Veteran, we're going to do something new. We have partnered with the Charleston Charter School for Math and Science with Principal LaVenture. This program will bring veterans into the classroom. They will engage with the students and share their personal stories, their sacrifice, what they've seen, and share that with the students so that they can encourage them to vote. We see that our young people here in our high schools, while they may be engaged in our community, they're not engaged at the polls. So it's with my pleasure, I'm proud to introduce that new partnership. Also with the South Carolina National Guard, the Charleston Exchange Club, as well as the Palmetto Warrior Connection, are all groups that have gotten behind our effort. We want to teach students what it means to be an American, to participate in democracy. Their vote matters. They have a say. This will be a pilot program with hopes to go before the Charleston County School Board to make this part of a curriculum for all schools in our county. So when the veteran goes into the classroom, we will follow up with that as well. Our office will go into the classroom, register students, and also encourage them to go to the polls. Another interesting aspect is that they become a poll manager. Becoming a poll manager is really good because you get to get paid, and also you get to be a part of the process, and that's empowering. Veterans will also be able to go into civic groups and community organizations like churches, Republican, Democrat events. They'll be able to share their stories and encourage each person participating to vote in the elections. Ultimately, our hope is that they will connect with the audience and their story will penetrate their hearts. Even if you don't attend an event, you can still participate. We have a website, vote.charlestoncounty.org/vets. At any time during the year, you can submit a testimonial, just a little paragraph on why you're honoring a veteran. We'll send a lapel pin, which I am wearing right now, that says Charleston Vote in Honor of Veteran. They'll wear it to the polls or to the absentee precinct, and our goal is to kind of get voters to get engaged with that. Why are you wearing that pin? What is that about? And they could share their story. There'll be information about the program on the website, as well for the ability for you to request a speaker to come to your event, your group, or your school. And when they submit this testimony, as I said, they will get a lapel pin in the mail to wear on election day. And once they do that, we ask that they go to Vote for Vets with a hashtag on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Take a picture, smile, take a selfie, show why you're honoring a veteran on election day. And with that, my pleasure is to introduce U.S. Congressman Mark Sanford to speak a little bit about voting and the importance of honoring our veterans.
I'm here simply to applaud Isaac and General Livingston and all the other team members, if you will, for what they're doing here. And I say that because it's been said that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, that freedom isn't free, that with every right comes a responsibility. And yet, as we all know, there is a cancer that's growing in this country wherein many people have come to believe that the democratic process is a spectator sport, that it doesn't require active participation. And the danger of that is not only low turnout in terms of votes, but the danger is, one, people just sort of check out and they don't engage in any way in the political process, or even worse yet, they sort of peripherally stay involved and they're, just sort of mad. And they're open to the most simplistic of political solutions because they're not part of the process. So what you all are doing here, I think, is vital. I think it's awfully important the way in which you've done it. I mean, this whole notion of recognizing veterans, I think, is absolutely key. I mean, the veterans have written the biggest of checks, if you will, in sustaining this fragile thing called liberty. And so if you think about, the 400,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that died who were comrades or co-workers, if you will, of the people who worked here on the Yorktown during World War II, incredible check written. Or as I look at this hangar bay back to the Vietnam Memorial, think about 58,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who didn't come home as a result of that conflict. So the fact that you're recognizing veterans for the incredible sacrifice that they've made, I think, is important. I also thank you for the way in which you recognize that everyone has a story, that we want to be inspired. Many people say that, in the wake of what happened at Mother Emanuel AME Church, and the way that those families responded with, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, people were inspired. And they were left to say, if they could do that, then what can I do? I think you're taking that same principle wherein a vet will be speaking in the classroom, a young person will look up and say, well, if they could do that, then what do I do? And you begin to fill in the void, if you will, with voter participation that is vital to our republic. And finally, I'd simply say this. You're again building on this notion that freedom isn't free. It's the most dangerous of all things people can think in a republic, that freedom is free. And that the most basic measure of our investment in this fragile notion of freedom is taking the time to vote. I thank you on all three fronts.
Thank you, Congressman Sanford. And it's with my great privilege to introduce General Bob Livingston, the head of our National Guard, the Adjutant General.
Thank you, Isaac. What a great day and what a great effort by this Elections Commission. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I want to acknowledge out in the audience General James Livingston, Medal of Honor recipient from Vietnam, who can talk volumes about the sacrifice of our great Marines and our service members in Vietnam and the effects on their families and things like that. Congressman, I remember when you were governor, came to visit my troops and me in Afghanistan. That was back in 2007. We had a multinational force. During that time, 21 of our great members of that multinational force paid the ultimate sacrifice. 3 National Guard Army soldiers from South Carolina during that time. 16 total from South Carolina, but 3 during that period of time. And I want to just tell you a quick story that was very heartwarming to me when I got back from that particular deployment. It was right around the June time frame, there was a kind of a minor primary election going on. And Barbara and I just got back into business, and we were at the office late, and we said, you know, I remember my time in Afghanistan, and the people were so proud of their ability to vote. In fact, as we were setting up, getting ready for the next election, and just so much effort. By George, even though this is a minor election, we're going to go vote, and we don't miss voting. Barbara and I just don't miss voting at all. So we made sure that we made it to the polls, Chalk Hill, over in Gaston, South Carolina. And we got there, and Barbara registered and got in, and I started to register, and they said, I'm sorry, General Livingston, because they recognized me from the deployment and things. They said, but your ballot is in Afghanistan, and we don't know how you can vote. And of course, I kind of hit the gravel, mumbled a couple of things, and Barbara voted, and we went home. And about 30 minutes later, we're about 5 miles away from the poll manager shows up. And he said, you're going to vote because you were preserving the right for us to vote. So that poll manager, he got it. And he escorted me back to Chalk Hill and made sure that I had the right to vote. And, you know, as Congressman Sanford talked about, that right to vote is so precious and it's such a gift to us. And tying that into those who sacrifice their lives for that right to vote is just so key. And I hope that our young people really realize the privilege that they have, and tying it to those who sacrifice, I think, will help them do that. So thank you to the Elections Commission. Just a tremendous effort and a very meaningful effort to one of those who has seen so much sacrifice, and my family has sacrificed so much for this precious right to vote. Thank you so much. God bless all of you.